Hello and welcome to another short video on my YouTube channel here. This one is just to let you know about a change that's recently happened to Skype, and I will be doing a walkthrough video, a how-to video on it, but I thought I would just record this for those of you who perhaps don't need to worry about the how-to video, but are just unaware of the change. Not everybody updates Skype regularly or in fact monitors the Skype forums or the Skype blogs. But Skype has always been a product where to communicate with people you've needed to have a Skype account and the other person needs to have a Skype account. And that's quite a logical thing, and particularly when you're doing a conference call. So in the past, you'd want to set up a conference call. You'd have to sort of talk to people and say, well, hey, I want to do a conference call. Can we do that via Skype? Or do we have to, find some of the means, because some of your people don't use Skype. They don't even have a Skype account. And so that can be very frustrating when you might have 10 people and 6 of them have Skype and 4 of them don't, and a couple of them say, hey, I don't know anything about Skype, I don't really want to create an account, or in fact I can't because I can't download Skype on the desktop from my computer because my computer's locked and I don't have administrative access. Depending on where you work, that can be the case. And these days, of course, you can install Skype on iPhones, iPads, Androids, Windows phones. But that's not always the best way to go if you're involved in a conference call. You really need to have a stable connection, and that's generally, a wired connection. So Skype recently made an addition, and that was that you can run Skype from your browser, which they've been doing that in beta over the last few months. But they've added another function to Skype on the desktop. When you open up Skype and you normally see the home key, the home button, you see the exit button, the call button, and then you've got another button called New with a little plus sign next to it. And that's normally where, when you click on that, you can start a conference call. You can click on that and then add people from your contact list to your Skype call. And then when you're ready, you click call and Skype automatically calls those contacts, and away you go with either an audio call or an audio and video call. When you do that now, and if you've got the latest version of Skype installed, when you do that now, you get another option as well. You get the original option of adding your contacts, but you get another option, and it has a link on it, a URL, a web link on it. And what you can do with that is you can add your normal people to the call, and then for example, you can email out this link to people who don't have a Skype account or don't have access to Skype. And what happens is when they get this email and they click on the link, it opens the web version of Skype. Now, if they don't have a Skype account at all, they've never signed up for anything, when it opens, it will ask them to put in a username. So they're coming in basically as a guest. So basically you'd say to them, please, use your normal name so that there's no confusion in the conference call as to who the person is that's come in. They can then use that and they can then join your call. So this is really a big change to Skype, and I think an important one, because it allows people with Skype to access people who don't have Skype. And if you're, in a hurry, your time's short, you really need to get a conference call going, you can do that with sending out that link and allowing people to connect via the Skype on the web browser as a guest account. Now, a couple of providers to this, and there always is, with the web version of Skype, the very first time you use it, whether you've got an account or you're coming in as a guest, in your browser you will be asked to install a small plugin, an MSI file. That plugin allows the browser to gain access to your web camera and your microphone for the call. Unfortunately, if you don't install it, you can't use Skype on the web. It's an issue if you're on a computer where you don't have any administrative login and the IT person's locked it down tight as a drum and you can't install any plugins. But if you are able to install a plugin, it's a painless operation. The other provider is if you're using Windows 10 and you've got the new Microsoft browser. I always got to remember what the new Microsoft browser is. It doesn't support plugins just yet. So it's Microsoft Edge, the Edge browser. A lot of you may not have it yet. You may not have Windows 10. It doesn't support any plugins. So if you've got Edge as your default browser and when you click the link it opens Edge, you won't be able to install the plugin at the moment. So what I would suggest you do is, if you haven't got Chrome or Firefox, or grab one of those, even if you're not going to use it regularly. Grab, for example, Chrome and install it, and you'll be able to then copy and paste that link into Chrome, and you'll be able to enter the Skype call. So that really will help you. But unfortunately, Edge at the moment doesn't accept any plugins, not just the one for Skype. It doesn't accept any plugins at all. But it's, as I said earlier, it's a really useful addition to Skype. I've been critical of Skype over the years that they roll out all these stuff like more emojis and all the rest of it, while bugs that are serious bugs remain not fixed. But this addition is very useful, particularly, for example, if you're a trainer, you're doing education, you've got to try and add some people into a conference call. You might be delivering a lesson through Skype. Not all of your students have Skype. You can spend hours trying to sort of tech support your way through helping them get Skype installed and an account, whereas this one makes it much easier for people who don't use Skype. Or, for example, if you're on a computer in an e-cafe or somewhere and you need to have a Skype call with someone and they don't have Skype on the e-cafe computer, you can at least get around that and join a conference call. So, and you can leave the conference call open and people can come back in at a later time if you wanted to have a second conference call. So that's it. As I said, I will be doing an actual walk through video, step by step, how to do this. But it really is fairly simple because Skype generates the link. All you've basically got to do is copy and paste the link, say, into a instant message to someone, or particularly into an email is probably the best, with a few instructions, particularly if it's a newbie that's never used Skype, to say this is what you've got to do, and be prepared that you will have to install the plugin the very first time you use Skype. And that's no matter if you're using this new feature in Skype or you've decided you want to try out the web version of Skype. And remember, to try out the web version of Skype, if you've got a Skype account, is just web.skype.com. It will open it up on your browser. It will ask you to install a plugin if it's your first time, and then you just put your normal Skype username and password, or your Microsoft username and password, and away you go. The web version is, of course, still in beta, so you might find it's rapidly changing from time to time, or it might be a bit buggy at times, but it's in beta, so you need to take that into account. So that's it. I hope that you find this video useful to get some more out of Skype, and as I said, I will be doing a how-to guide very shortly.